Identity Project. Guys, we've got a few tuned in today. It's good to see you here on a Monday. Hope everyone's well. We'll get to some of the comments in just a few minutes. But today is basically a reflection on the past couple of weeks. We've got 4 days left of this incredible challenge. And it's been a challenge for myself, actually. To show up every day consistent, you know, keeping the content fresh, keeping the content engaging, keeping the content, you know, beneficial for you guys, you know, because you don't want to come on here and, you know, listen to me ramble for an hour when I'm not actually giving you any value. So to come up with new stuff every day that kind of I've either experienced or been through myself, that's been challenging. However, by planning, by preparing, by being, you know, consistent, and the way I've kind of done this is I thought, well, if I'm tuning into Sunday, what would I want to learn from this? What am I going to get from this? Because at the end of the day, like I keep saying, time is the most important value that you have. It's not money, it's your time, you know, and that's the most valuable asset you can give someone. So basically today, day 17, we're looking at something powerful. Now, reflecting and activating. So what we're going to do today, we're going to take everything we've learned so far and take it into the real world, because, you know, a lot of what I'm saying is it can come across as theory. It can come across as, well, you know, yes, but how do we apply it into the real life? How do we apply it into the real day? How do we apply it into, you know, small steps every day? Well, this is going forward. So before we get to section 1, just let me do the normal little shout outs to everybody. Gojo, good to see you. Cafe Noble, hi Cafe. Cafe Noble. And today, Cafe, I'm on the way to the post office for yourself and Claire Alexander. And do you know what? By the end of today, I think, do you know what? By the end of today, by the end of this little lesson, whoever gives me what they've learned over the past couple of weeks, what benefits they've implied or implemented, leave a little comment, and I'm going to pick one of these by the end of it. I'll get a feeling. I'll get a feeling for who's sort of committed to this, and I'm going to send you one as well, and that'll be today. So, Brian Foster, happy Monday, Brian. Callan Stewart, good to see you. I'm standing doing the ironing, listening note, beautiful, love it. And Louise, good to see you. And Louise, I've not read your message. I noticed you gave me a little message. I've not read it fully. However, I saw the first part of it, and I'm very, very proud. You wrote something about not waiting until New Year to start doing these habits, to start implementing some of these things that we've learned. Very, very proud, because a lot of people, you know, it's November, Christmas is coming up, you know, okay, I can take this information, let's start it January. However, if you start it now, tiny small things, you can get a real good head start if you want to do like a New Year's resolution, or, you know, anything you want to do for next year. Let's get a little head start, because 2 months is a long time, you know. 2 months. In fact, you know, even if you've done an extra 100 steps a day for 2 months, that's a, you know, that's a good kickoff, and that will get you in the right mindset. However, that leads us on to the first topic, is mindset. So, the Mack analogy, as you know, is mindset, accountability, community, and knowing why. So how can we implement this framework into what you've learned in the past couple of weeks? Well, first off is mindset. First off is being self-aware. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Now, the past 2 weeks have really helped me, and what I've kind of done this morning, or when I woke up, actually, I had a little lie-in today, so apologies for being a bit later today. Needed it though, and sometimes you need it, you know. So the content over the past couple of weeks, to get your mindset in the right frame of mind, reflecting on what progress you've had in the past couple of weeks allows us to see how far we've come, or what mind shift changes we've had, or even if it's one bit of information you thought, do you know what? I can apply that into my life, or I can make this small change to benefit something. So whatever it is, the past couple of weeks, this is the first step in doing this, and we're going to do this today, is I want you to type in the comments if there's anything in the past couple of weeks, because not only does it reflect on you, it'll help other people, and also it'll help me. And the reason why it's going to help me is I know what things are now important to you, what's changed, and how can I improve my videos going forward to focus on what's been important. Does that make sense? So I need a bit of interaction today if possible. And by understanding this, we can embrace each other's growth. This helps me, this helps you, this helps people in the comments. Hi Dad, good to see you. This just helps everyone, and it'll help. Do you know what will help? because I'm being quite selfish here, because this is my identity project. I want to take this further. However, I don't know what's important to people as of yet. I know the information I'm giving is great. I know what I'm saying is true because I've experienced it. However, what's really important to you? Is it a buddy system? Is it a private WhatsApp group? Is it just a private group in general? List a couple of things and we can take it from there. But by doing this, by being self-aware from where you've been to where you are now to where you want to be, that's just a progression. And it's really important to have that. Again, it's having that GPS in your head. It's having that sat nav. It's like, okay, I'm here in Edinburgh. How do I get to Liverpool? What's the fastest way to get to Liverpool? You know, and sometimes you'll come across objections. Well, that road's closed. The traffic lights don't work. What's another route? But you're still getting to the same destination, even though there might be some hurdles along the way. I seen a great quote yesterday, actually. Where's my phone? Wait there. I posted it in the group. I'll get to that one, but there's one from Tony Robbins. The only impossible journey, there's one impossible journey, right? And that's the one that you don't start. Every other journey can happen. Doesn't matter what it is, but the only one that's impossible is the one you never start. So there's a few people in the comments who said over the past few weeks, you know, these are great tactics for like a New Year's resolution, or like forget that. Like, just forget a New Year's resolution. Just start. Tiny, small, today. And then if you want to double down at the New Year's resolution, at least you've got a little head start, if that makes sense. Section 2 is accountability, but let's look at some of these comments so far. Anne-Louise, starting today. Love that. I've learned how to take the curveballs. Ooh, I like that, Cafe. I've learned how to take the curveballs and turn them into smashing my goals. Now, I've instantly noticed something. And Cafe, do not take this the wrong way. Right? You might not like this. However, this is positive. So Kathy Noble, right? Past few weeks, you know, you're showing up every day. That's been your commitment to this. And I cannot respect you enough for that. However, I've noticed something different in the past. Maybe in the past week, at certain times, your dialogue has changed. And what do I mean by dialogue? The words that you're using has changed. Because I've never saw you. By the way, I love curveballs, but now take this sentence, and I'm turning them into smashing my goals. You might not even realise what you've just typed. However, that is a huge difference to what you would have typed 2 weeks ago. Tell me if I'm wrong. That is, and as tiny as that may, because somebody might be listening to me and saying, well, anybody can write a sentence. However, I can instantly feel that through just reading that, how you're feeling right now. And I can feel that commitment, even though, and by the way, Cathy Noble, I know you're going through a lot. I know there's things happening. However, you're not making excuses. You know, there's been a couple of times where, you know, and by the way, I'd be the same. You know, well, this has happened, that's happened. However, that sentence there has just absolutely made me burst with pride. I've learnt the curveballs and I'm turning them into smashing my goals. Yes, Cathy. Let's have a look at some other ones. All weekend, avoided fat Coke with my vodka. Had whiskey and ice instead. Brian. And by the way, great example. And Brian, I absolutely love how you're just committed to this as well. This is absolutely brilliant. Self-care is so important. Yes, Lucy. And I think in some respects, I need to do that for myself as well. Because I think sometimes I spread myself too thin. And I think, and again, I can't say this officially, however, one of the ADHD symptoms is being a people pleaser. And what that means is, like, you kind of find yourself saying yes to everything because you don't want to let everyone down or anyone down because you're scared of rejection. And I think that's always been a huge symptom for me. However, I learned quite quickly to get over that when I was a car salesman because I instantly knew I'm going to get rejected. I instantly knew there was some sort of rejection. If I go up to someone and say, hi, how's your day? They're going to be, oh, I'm just looking. However, having a different mindset and saying, well, how can I get that person not to say I'm just looking? So I would flip it. I would say, are you in to see anybody? Now, why is that different? Because the customer's expecting me to say, can I help you? So now the customer has to think of a response on the spot. Hi, are you in to see anybody? no, I'm not. Never engaged in a conversation. And that's when I would then say, well, my name's Frankie, you're probably going to get pestered by one of these lot, just say you're with me and they'll leave you. And that's it. And the customer's thinking, why are you not trying to sell? This is so different to anything I've ever experienced. Does that make sense? It's creating a different mindset to anything that you do. If it's a negative, how can we make this into a positive? Or how can we get a different result from the same situation? Does that make sense? And Kathy, so proud of you for that sentence. Like, so proud of you. Right. Karen Rogan, I've learned that there's always more to learn. And Karen, you're quite far into, I've seen some of Karen's work, and I won't go into too much detail, but Karen's helped a lot of people become sober. Karen holds these events that are how do you explain it? I don't want to go into too much detail, but Karen holds these events that, like these festivals where it's only sober people. She helps people come off the drink. She helps people come off drugs. Karen does a lot for people, and she probably won't mind me saying this. Like, at one point in her life, Karen was that person. However, the setbacks, the comeback's more powerful than the setback. So that was Karen a few years ago, or however long ago. However, she couldn't teach people. It would be impossible for her to teach people to go because she's been through it. She understands the pitfalls. She understands what never helped, the theory work, you read that in a book and you think, well, that might work for somebody, but not for me. But Karen says, like, how she dealt with it. And that's a completely different concept to learning from somebody who's been through it, to learning it in like a textbook. And I think whatever you want to do in life, you need somebody to follow who's been through what you want to change or how you want to overcome something. It can't just be from just getting information, because yes, the information might be the same as what the other person's saying. However, you don't know how to implement it, if that makes sense. So Karen, super, super proud of you. And by the way, like, that's what I was going to say. Karen sent me a lovely message by saying, by the way, not in an arrogant way, she was like, I thought I knew a lot. Like, Karen does know a lot. She was like, I just tuned into this to support you. And Karen's one of my biggest supporters. She turns up at gigs, gives me messages, sends me little quotes and this was before the challenge. However, she was like, I have actually learned so much in the past 21 days that I never even expected to learn, and from, I'm 31, obviously. However, I feel about 61. I've done a lot. I've not been through anything traumatic. However, I've done a lot of things and I've failed at a lot of stuff. But from those failures, I can then say, by the way, don't try not to do it that way. If I was you, I would probably try this way, because I've done that. Someone said to me, was it Peter? Peter said to me, he was like, a wise man, I don't want to get this wrong, but however, he said a wise man or a wise woman learns from, learns from the mistakes, right? But a person with wisdom learns from other people's mistakes. So what you do is you find out people that have been on your journey, and it's like, well, they already know how not to get there. How do you get there? That makes sense. Hope that's making a bit more sense. Kathy Noble. Kathy, also learned to be honest with myself and open up about my feelings, as I'm no longer alone. Callie Stewart, this journey on day 17, I'm more motivated, excited for the next chapter. My jotter is like scribbles of my thoughts and mindset, and when I look back to see all the benefits, what's changed for the better. Wow. Gojo, having a good day, just chilling in class, might go to the gym if I can be, I'm not going to say that, if I can be bothered, and then go for a sleep for like 16 hours. How's everyone else? Brian, an advocate might help someone understand their care and support. Brian, I don't know what an advocate means. Wait there. I'm going to have to Google that word. Advocate meaning. A person who publicly supports or recommends a particular cause or policy. Oh, okay. The thing that's fantastic with this is it is a community. However, and this might sound probably what you might not want to hear, like if you're following somebody, like online or whatever, like I've done it before, I've reached out to a few people who I follow, and I got myself into, like, you know, how'd you do this or how'd you do that? Like, the most important thing is you actually take accountability on yourself. Like, you're the person that needs to make the changes, you know? But to kickstart that, it's always good to have that support at the start, like that, like an advocate. I've just learned a new word. I love that. However, at the end of the day, nobody else can change your life apart from you. You're the only person that has that power. And I always learned this. It's like, make it fun. Like, imagine you're watching a movie, right? Because your life is a movie and you can change the script at any time. And if you watch a movie from start till finish and it's all about this person having success throughout their whole life, like, it's not going to be a good story, is it? Like, it's going to be pretty boring. However, you watch a movie like Rocky, you know, how many pitfalls, and he says this great line, it's like, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. And it is, because the more times you fail and get back up, the story in the movie you have can tenfold help somebody, you know, that's going through something similar in life. Or not even similar. I'm a singer. If somebody wants to be a footballer, they can apply the same steps, the same process. That makes sense. Or if you want to be a mechanic, you can apply the same process. Because that's all anything is. It's a process. Paul Doyle. Hi, Paul. Good to see you, Paul. Consistency and being more accountable for me. Do you know what, Caroline? I'm going to give you a gratitude diary, because you have. And do you know what? You've sent me a message every day with the goals, the steps, what you're grateful for. You know, you've just been, so Kathy, who else was it? Claire Alexander and Caroline Stewart. I'm going to send you one. The way I hold myself, posture has even changed. Who's this? Leslie White. Oh, by the way, Leslie, here we go. So the way I hold myself / posture has changed. It's not just my mind, it's confidence I'm building to do the things I've lost over the past 4 years. Wow. And by the way, you'll find that, because do you know what's mad? Because it's like a cycle. So the way I get prepared for a show, right? Believe it or not. I don't know if anyone saw this video. It was before Assembly Rooms in May. And I'm backstage. I'm just about to go on stage. However, I didn't know Dennis Kennedy was recording me. So I'm like basically jogging on the spot, right? I'm jumping up and down to get my blood flowing, and I'm focused on my posture. I'm focused on where my shoulders are, because if I come out on stage with my shoulders forward, it's tiny things like that. It looks to the audience I'm not confident. However, I need to smash it right from the start. Shoulders back, you know, a little bit cheeky chappy right from the start, and that sets my mind. That's a mindset. But what people don't realise is I need to be in like a toilet 15 minutes before I do those warm-ups. And why do I need to be in a toilet? Because I need to speak to myself in the mirror. You are a showman. I am a showman. I'm a singer. I deserve to be here. I deserve 700 people watching me. Even though, it's half an hour before the show, and I'm thinking, oh my God, there's 700 people watching me. Like, why are people here, you know? I've got imposter syndrome. Like, oh, what have I done to deserve this? That self-talk happens to everybody. That's normal. However, you speak to yourself, and again, this sounds absolutely bonkers. You speak to yourself in the mirror for 10, 15 minutes, and that can be every morning. That could be before you go to bed. Speak to yourself these words that empower you and not deflate you. Because everyone has that negative self-talk. Everyone has that little voice in their head. I don't care who you are. Everybody has it. The way you get over it is you speak the words, right? And then what happens is your posture changes. But because your postures change, you now see yourself in a different light. So your words automatically align with your body now. And this takes 10 minutes. It's so, honestly, if I don't do it before a show, I notice the difference between my shows. If I've done it and I've not done it. If I'm rushing about, you know, maybe I'm running late for a gig in Tenerife or whatever, I've went to one gig to another gig, and I don't have time to give myself that little pep talk beforehand. Why do you think Celtic have the huddle? Why do you think, you know, it's just filled with self-belief and self-talk that even if you don't quite believe it, right, pretend that you believe it, and eventually you'll start believing it. Because you tell yourself a lie that many times, you'll start to believe it. Now, this can also happen in the reverse. If you're a confident person and maybe you've had a bad day, and you give yourself that little bad talk, like I shouldn't have done this, or should, and you go into the second and third day of bad talk, it also affects that way. You'll start to feel like you're drooping your shoulders, you walk along the street, you're not looking at people, you're just keeping your head down. Whereas you've had a good 3, 4, 5 days, shoulders are more back, you're smiling, you're looking at people, you're engaging. Hiya, morning, how are you? Good to see you. And by the way, I've done it. I've done it at the weekend. I was feeling a bit low, I was lost my voice from singing the other night, and I was just like, oh, I'm not like 100% good. However, I had a little chat with myself this morning. Frankie, it's a Monday. Let's get up. People are expecting you to come on here. Let's go. That makes sense? And you look at the videos over the weekend to this one today, I bet you'll see a difference in my posture. And that's hard for me to admit, because I'm trying to be here, showing up every day, 100%, like go, go, go. By the way, that's impossible. That is impossible for anyone to do that. However, still show up, even if that day all you've got is 64%. In your tank, you've only got 64%, right? If you give 64%, that's 100% what you're giving. I'm going to tell you that again. If in your tank, you've only got 64% to give to that day, right? You've had a couple of hard days at work, you're stressed, can't be bothered, you're not got the gym. The gym's 10%, health eating's 10%. You're like, nah, I'm going to treat myself. I done it Sunday. I ate so much crap on Sunday, right? And really, I only felt I had 60%. But do you know what? I had 15% YouTube video. I had another 15% finishing off the book that I wrote. So it all adds up to 64, 65%, but I still gave it all. That's you still giving 100%. So never feel like you have to do everything every single day to the absolute maximum, right? It's all right to have some of these days. You need it, because it's impossible, because you're just going to burn yourself out. Leslie White, yep. Heidi, let's have a look at Heidi. Find myself more focused. This has been down to what I've been learning from you. Really appreciate that, Heidi. Angela Finn, afternoon. Hi, Angela. Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Oh, love that one, Karen. Quote, the more you practice the art full of thankfulness, the more you have to be thankful for. Not my quote, but one I'm realizing. Leslie, bang on. Again, gratitude. You cannot. If you have gratitude, you will attract more gratitude. I promise you. Whatever you believe in, you'll attract. Whatever you are, because you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. Please let that sink in. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. So funnily enough, right, I'll tell you what, look at everyone in the comments now, the past, 17 days. I'm not attracting people who don't want to better themselves. I want to better myself. And the people I'm attracting to view these videos want to better themselves. That's not a coincidence. Because the people that don't want to better themselves will come up with, well, what does he know anyway? Or, he's only 31, what does he know? Or, yeah, but Frankie, you're not perfect. It's just a closed mind. However, the people that do want to better themselves, realising what I'm saying is actually, you might not agree with all of it, but if you agree with some stuff, even if you only agree with 20%, that 20% can change your life. If you say, right, do you know what, I'm just going to start writing 3, 4 things a day. I'm going to make a vision board and I'm going to work towards that. And I'm going to set deadlines. If that's all you took for the past 2 weeks, I promise you that will change your life. Without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Those little things in the anagram, mindset, accountability, community, knowing why, that can change your life. You don't even need to watch another video from now on. Those are the things that are going to do it. However, I do want you to keep watching. Hi, Angela, getting new mindsets from my son and taking new ideas on board. And by the way, Dad, you say that to me as well. It's like, my dad's like old school. Do you know what I mean? He's like set in his ways, and however, like I've even noticed my dad like coming to some things like, by the way, like I've never thought about that before, or I've never thought in that way before. And to see my dad doing that is like, my dad will probably be sat there laughing just now, because he knows, like, my dad loves his routine. He's got his mindset on, this is how. However, like, I remember when I first started speaking about this, my dad was like, well, what are you talking about? What do you mean manifesting? What do you mean visualize? And I think it's just different generations. Does that make sense? It's just a different generation because we have access to this stuff every day. TikTok, YouTube, and some of it's bad, some of it's whatever. But however, a lot of it, if you only follow channels that, like for instance, for me, my phone's only filled with channels that will benefit me. You know, motivational channels, like positive quotes channels. If you're surrounded by that stuff every day, it's only going to affect how you react to the world. You know, and that's another little tip just now. So I would follow every single. If you're on Instagram, or Instagram's a good one because it's just quick. So if you've got an Instagram account, unfollow the people. See if you see a negative thing, unfollow them, right? Straight away. And only follow motivational pages, positive quotes, affirmations. And after a month of seeing this every single day on your phone, again, that's only going to change your mindset. Hi, Carl, I hope you're getting some value. Hi, cheers, Dad. Frank, unbelievable the value. I'm so committed to it all now and loving the new me. Cafe Nova, I've watched that video many times. I show the jogger up and down, Cafe Nova. Watched that video many times and shows how much the show and performance means to you and your adrenaline, and it has you hyped up and got yourself ready to smash a show. Cafe, it's like that with anything, honestly. And sometimes, you know what, I have to do it before the gym. Sometimes after a couple of days, I don't feel as, fit. I don't feel as, and I'm overthinking, like, how am I going to look in this gym? I sometimes need to give myself 5-10 minutes before I head into the gym. Just go to the toilet. And by the way, you don't even really need to say it out loud. However, if you just think to yourself, like, I'm deserving, like, I'm not going to the gym to, showcase myself. I'm going to the gym to make a small effort. Like, over the course of a year, if you turn up to the gym every day, you're going to see a difference. It doesn't even need to be the gym. It can be anything. Leslie White, that's exactly how I feel. Heidi, just changing small things to my diet has helped, and that's because I now feel more confident that I can lose weight. Heidi, and again, like, if you take the mindset that, because I don't know what was that helped you. However, I think I said something that, I think I said something that resonated with a few of you the other day. It's like, because I told people to never go on a diet, and I saw a few comments like, "What you talking about? Never go on a diet." However, after the video finished, and a couple of days after, I was mind blown by the response because I thought this was an obvious thing. Because when if you looked at me when I was younger, I was like 16 or 17 stone. I can't really remember, but I was fat. Like I was a chubby wee teenager, right? And I was a bit smaller as well, so I was more chunky than anything, right? My nickname at snooker was Baby Rhino. How do you think growing up made me feel? Like, that was fine, that was a laugh, Baby Rhino. However, I've never been on a diet, so people are like, well, how'd you lose all the weight then? Like, like, how old was I? I would say maybe at my I was 15, 16, say. Like, losing 3 stone over a period of 10 years isn't a diet you want to go on, is it? But it is a lifestyle that I wanted to go on. I only changed things that I could sustain. Like, I'm never going to sit here and tell you to do something for like 2 weeks and then hopefully it comes true. Like, this is an ongoing thing. You know? This isn't a case of like, oh, it's a 3-week challenge and then after the 3 weeks I'm a different person. No. The 3 weeks is to give you an intense kickstart to change your habits and your lifestyle. Never go on a lifestyle diet or never go on a eating diet. Never just, if you want to stop drinking, never just say, I'm going to quit for 3 months. You need to change your identity. If you want to really stop something, you need to say, I am not that person. If you want to stop smoking, you now, from today, even if someone saw you smoking yesterday, you need to now say, I am not a smoker. Don't say I'm quitting smoking. Those are 2 different people, because you're a smoker who's quitting. If you have an identity where it's, I am not a smoker. Even my mum, right? She probably won't mind me saying this. In fact, she won't, because I'm so proud of her. You know, my mum used to go out a weekend like everyone else does. However, she knew it wasn't benefiting her, and she stopped drinking last February. And by the way, I forget about this as well. My mum used to smoke as well. That's crazy. I forgot all about that. My mum used to smoke as well. However, what she, and I don't think she actually realised she'd done this, she got into a habit by saying, I'm not a smoker. I used to watch that. I'm not a smoker. Even though I knew she smoked like 10 years ago, now her identity's changed. Even when somebody asked, and I was so proud of her actually, we were on a night out, like, we went to go see a show. And someone said, would you like a drink? And I was just drinking a Coke Zero. And she, no, just want an alcohol. And instantly my mum said, I don't drink. Oh, that's because what happens is, if you say you're quitting drinking, a lot of people will say, just have one. How many's done it? Or a cigarette? Just have one, it's not going to kill you. If you instantly say, I am not a drinker or I'm not a smoker, no one's going to say, just have one, because it's not you. You're not that person. That's why this is important. This word is the most important word you'll have, identity. Because you need to change your identity to become that person that you want to be. And it might sound like you're lying at the start. That's good, because you've never felt that way before. If you're drinking 5 times a week and you say on the Monday, I'm not a drinker, that's going to feel like, why are you lying to yourself? However, over time, you'll start developing habits that make you not drink. If you tell yourself that enough times, you're going to, and again, it's not as easy as that. You need support. You need a good kickstart. You know, if you do want to give up drinking and it's that bad, you're doing it 5 times a week, go see a support group first, get that kickstart for the first month, 2 months, to change that identity. Because you're only going to get so much from this. Does that make sense? Again, with smoking, anything, and it might be even developing a good habit. Let's flip it. If you want to be kinder to people every day, let's just start off small. Let's smile at 5 people a day. How hard is that, to smile at 5 people? And what you'll find is some people will think you're a weirdo. Why is she smiling at me? Why is he smiling at me? However, you'll get into the habit, because that's their issue. If somebody doesn't smile back at you because you've smiled, that's their issue. That ain't a you problem. That's a them problem. You just keep being you. You want to be that nicer person? You want to hold the door open for an extra few people a day? That will turn in, honestly, the ripple effect that has. And by the way, and I've noticed this as well, that might be the only interaction that person has today. If you've held the door open for, say, Deirdre at Tesco, right? She might just be coming out of her house to go get a loaf of bread to go back up the stairs. However, if I've held the door open for her, she'll, you're such a gentleman. You know, I might have a 30-second conversation with her. That can change somebody's day. And it sounds cheesy, it sounds all fairy dust and all. That is the God's honest truth. The amount of days I've changed by doing simple stuff like that is unbelievable. And I bet there's loads of people watching this just now that are thinking, do you know what, I've done that myself. Everyone's done it. Just do more of it, you know? My dad, I am correct, I am old school. Yeah. Cafe, old school becomes new school. Every day is a learning day. I love that. That's so lovely, Carla. Love that. I mean, I'm 17. I'm 17 and I'd like to think I'm doing all right. Gojo, you're 17. What do you do at college, pal? What is your actual name? Well, because all I read is Gojo, the honoured one. What's your actual name? I love how everyone here is always willing to do a lot for others. I like that a lot. Wow. Leslie, I have to watch your videos back because I can't read and listen at the same time. Leslie, I'm the same. 100% I'm the same. I just, you know, it takes me, I don't know, even to learn a song. It takes me, I would say, a couple of weeks to learn a song. And that's only 2 minutes. Hi, Bill Allen. Not a problem, buddy. I've got one of these brains that if I need to learn it, as in like, for instance, for me to learn a song, I need to watch the live version of a song. The reason being is, for me to remember something, it's got to mean something, it's got to feel something. Like, for instance, do you know people that say, like, I'm really bad with names? Or, I'm really good with faces, but I'm not bad with names. Like, that's crap. That's just an absolute habit they've got into. by saying that, and then they start believing it. That's a load of rubbish. Because if you really cared about that person's name, you would never forget it if you actually genuinely cared. How many people that you care about and you just suddenly forget their name? Not once in history has that ever happened. Is that making sense? And that might be a hard truth to some of you, because I bet you there's half the people on here watching this just now saying, oh my God, I say that. Like, you're lying to yourself. You're not bad with names. You've just developed that habit by saying that, and it's an easy excuse for you to forget somebody's name. You don't have the effort. You don't care enough to remember that person's name. Again, done it myself. However, when I used to work as a TUI rep, there'd be 500-600 people in the hotel. I knew everybody's name. In fact, if there's anybody that's worked when I've been a rep or whatever, or anybody that's been at a show, how many times have I done a show and I've remembered everyone's name in that show within 2 hours? I would go, and I used to do this as part of the act. You know, when the hat went round, I used to say to people before the end of the show, there's 100 people here. If I remember everyone's name before the end of the show, you need to tip me €5 each. And I don't know why I don't do that anymore, because I made a lot of money by doing that. However, I remembered people's names because I cared, and I attached a story to that person's name. I didn't say, go, what's your name? I was like, what'd you do? Oh, I'm an electrician. What's your name? John. Or John the electrician. Or, you know, I would instantly have like a spark above his head, because I'm very visual. So to remember his name, I didn't remember John. I remembered the electrician. And what do you think of an electrician? I remember a spark. So anytime I looked at this guy, there was a spark above his head, and I'll be like, what was his name again? John, the Sparky, the electrician John. That was the one, John. You attach a different meaning to that person. And it's like a photographic memory. It's like, my dad has the same. It's like he can look at a picture, or he'll remember every detail of that picture. Julie, hi, Frankie, quit smoking 35 years ago. Wow. So Julie, what made you quit smoking? Just as did you just decide one day you've had enough of it, or why did you? My dad just wrote, I've got a photographic memory. I just said that. What made you quit smoking 35 years ago? Anne Louise felt, people get my name wrong all the time. Have to say, you never have. Anne Louise, because you mean something to me. I remember the things that you told me at a show. I remember meeting you. I remember the first time I met you. Like, I remember these things. I remember exactly what seat you were in at Calypso. Beside, I can't remember if it was your sister or whatever. You were with somebody, and you took a long time to get into the show. I didn't know if you liked me. I didn't know if you wanted to slap me, or I didn't know if you wanted to kiss me. I had no idea. Obviously not that, but I had no idea where I stood with you, and that really intrigued me. You know, and from then, you know, one of these supporters that back everything I do, and I appreciate you. So of course I'm not going to forget your name. Does that make sense? We're getting slightly off topic here. However, I do feel I need to give you an extra bit today, because the weekend energy was a bit low. This is Monday. We're kicking off with a good one. So accountability. Accountability is what bridges reflection and real change. Today we're tuning into insight action, focusing on small, consistent steps. Yep, we've done that. Now, this is weird that this came up. So there's a book called Atomic Habits. Now, I've never read a book in my life. I've never read one book. But what I do is I go on YouTube. So if anyone that learns differently, like, I find it hard to read. I'll read the same page over and over again to try and paint a picture. But then by doing that, it just takes ages to just read a book. Because the way my brain works is my brain's further ahead than what my eyes can catch up. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I already get a feeling for what's going to come, or already get a feeling of a visual outline. So if I read on and it matches, my brain gets bored. But if I read on and it's different, I need to then go back and read it again, because I need to paint a different picture. So the way I learn is by watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts. Because now my brain's now going at the same tempo as what I'm listening, and then my brain's going at the same tempo as what I'm seeing. It doesn't go at the same tempo when I'm reading. I don't know why. However, so what I would normally do if somebody's got the same, I don't know if you call it a problem or a superpower or whatever it is, here's a solution. Go on YouTube and type in your favourite book. Say it's Atomic Habits, and type in summary. And then there's a lot of these people who have done like illustrations or diagrams, or you know, they'll talk through the highlights of the book for like 10 minutes, and you can watch it. That's how I've learned. That's how I can read a book in 10 minutes without actually reading the book. I've got a visual movie, if it were, because I love movies. I don't like reading. I love watching stuff, you know. But this book called Atomic Habits, I didn't know this because I've never read the book. Someone messaged me the other day saying, by the way, like, is this just a concept of Atomic Habits? And I was like, what on earth is Atomic Habits? Like, oh, it's a book. Like Atomic, like everything you're speaking about is in Atomic Habits. So I've never read it. So obviously this works because basically I've got my learning from people who I look up to, entrepreneurs, businessmen, singers, and like success leaves clues. So obviously what I'm saying matches something. I don't know what matches. However, they says, I'm going to send you this book. So bless her, Savannah, if you're watching, I appreciate the gesture. So she's coming to the show in the assembly rooms on the 30th, and she's going to, I told her, I said, you need to sign the book. And I says, I promise you, I'm going to read this book. It's called Atomic Habits. And I says, as long as you sign it, I'll read it. So that's going to be my challenge. Maybe for December, there we go. Maybe I'm going to set a challenge by reading, say, so how I want to plan this is, and by the way, this might seem so easy for some of you. This is not going to be an easy task, reading a book. I can promise you that right now. However, if there's like 300 pages, I don't know how many pages it is. If there's like 300 pages, right? In my head, say there's 30 days, average on a month, for some 31, some less, we get that. Really, that's only 10 pages a day. Now, see when you break a massive goal like that, for me, this is a massive goal, reading 300 pages. But 10 pages a day is nothing. That's easy. However, by the end of that month, I'll have read a book. That makes sense. And again, this will seem really easy for some of you. This isn't easy for me. So yeah, section 3, community. And by the way, community is an essential source of motivation, and I think I don't need to try and sell you on that analogy. I don't need to try and sell you on that idea, because I think that's pretty clear that it works. With when you've got like-minded people that are doing the like-minded stuff, it actually becomes half the battle. You know, so when you've got that community and also accountability, eventually your mindset is going to change. You know, they all work in different ways, by the way. And you might have only 2 or 3 just now. You might understand that you need to know your mindset needs to be different, and you probably need to know the reason why. However, you can just start off with accountability and community, you know, which then affects your mindset. And then in a couple of months, you'll think, do you know what? I'm doing this because of that reason. I didn't know it at the time. You don't need to have all 4 at the moment. Just start off with a couple. And eventually, you'll have all of them. Mindset, accountability, community, and knowing why. Let's have a look here. And the last section, like I just said, knowing why. Focus on the intention you're doing something. Why do you want to give up smoking? You know, it might be for a silly reason. I don't know. It might. And by the way, I stopped drinking for like 3 months or 4 months or whatever before I went to Las Vegas. Was it last year? The year before? I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year actually. And the reason wasn't health benefits. The reason wasn't I don't know, it wasn't for any reason at all other than I wanted to look good on stage when I was performing at the Tropicana Hotel. That was my reason. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Because it should be your health. It should be, you know, not wasting money. It should be, these are all the reasons it should be. However, Vegas had a deeper meaning for me, and it was so easy just to write that off and just be like, nah, I'm ready for this show in March. So from January to like the end of March or April, I was so committed, and it was effortless. It wasn't an effort. I just changed my lifestyle. I replaced it with tennis. I replaced it with paddle. I replaced it with, you know, mini golf. You can't just take a habit out and just leave it, because then you've got a little hole. You need to replace it with something. Let's have a little look at the comments before we wrap up. Cafe Noble, Frankie, that's a great skill to remember everyone's name, etc. The older I get, the memory's not good, but I'll never forget a face or where I met that person. I love that. Angela Flynn, I forget people's name these days, but I think that's the famous menopause. Okay. Or that's just an excuse. You've allowed yourself to have an excuse. Which one is it? Because there's a fine line between an actual excuse and a real excuse. You know? Angela. Caroline Stewart, I'm the same with a book. Read a couple of pages, lose interest, but can watch YouTube. Yeah. And by the way, I don't know why that is. Just everyone's different. Everyone's brain's different. However, I think everyone learns in a different way. Some can read well, some can listen well. Like for me, I'm a good listener. And what I mean by a good listener is not actually taking the sentence, right? I can actually listen to a sentence and understand why you want that sentence. That's listening. And that's why I was I'm not going to lie, this might sound arrogant, but this is why I was a very good salesman. I didn't know the most about the cars, and I've never been into cars. I hate cars. Like I could not give a monkeys about cars. And I told customers this. They instantly came in, and I would honestly say to them, like, you'll probably go out, like, you'll have researched what car you want, what colour you want, what price you want. So I say, you just tell me what you want. I'm just going to match it because you're going to know a lot more about this car than me. All I'm going to do is give you the keys, have a look over it, we'll go for it. If you want a test drive, if you want a test drive. If you want to be at £200 a month, let me see if I can get there. And there was no selling. I was just genuinely trying to help the person. And it was mad because, you know, I don't know why people don't sell that way. Yes, eventually over time, you know, after a few years, I became pretty knowledgeable about the cars and, you know, what the benefits were and stuff like that. But I just used to try and make a relationship rather than try and make a sale. You know? I'd rather, you know, let somebody go, but then they come back to me when they're ready. That makes sense because then it's word of mouth. It's having that trust with somebody. And again, it's building that little community. I had a little community, the customers, repeat business, you know? And that was by accident I found that. Because when I was very open and honest about people, that, by the way, I've just started 6 months ago, I'm not an expert, but whatever you need, I'll find out. Like, if I don't know the answer, I'll find out the answer for you, and that's it. And people respected that much more than saying, you know, just trying to wing it or just trying to blag it, as many people do, which is understandable. But I think people just love being somebody that's authentic. Anne Louise, you're 100% right. I was having none of it at Calypso. You totally won me over. 1-0 to Frankie. Kathy, no, but I learn by watching and doing. Yep, taking action. Taking action. That's the key thing. Gordon Duncanson, by the way, I love this. How's it going, Mr. Mack? Missed you last week in a rave. Great to see you doing great and moving in the direction you want to go. Gordon, I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you, pal. Caroline Stewart, thank you for doing today. Ironing done. Beautiful. I have to be in the mood to read a book, but once I get into one, I won't put it down until I'm finished. I love that. I can't read because I need to go to Specsavers. Oh, I love that. This is the best community I've been part of through sessions and feel honoured that members reach out to me and still do. Wow. So, what I want you to do is, I think I'll look at audiobooks and habit change. Caroline Stewart, I like that. However, I've tried audiobooks, and by the way, you might be different. I've tried audiobooks. You know that Audible? Didn't work for me either. I think I really need a visual, something to follow visually. I need that for me. I don't know how to explain it. I need something visual that I'm watching. And by the way, even if it's visual on the background, I can still listen. That's fine. It's just I don't even know what it is. It's weird, eh? Maybe I'm just a weirdo. By the way, I'm almost not finished, but I'm a good bit through the ADHD meeting. I want to try and get that posted by this weekend. I've decided I'm going to post it. Now, the reason I'm going to post it, even though I'm quite uncomfortable with a few things, not because of what I've said is like untruthful, it's the opposite. because I've said a few things that are truthful that I've never said before, and it's like, well, I don't know who's going to see this. However, I think with me doing this and, you know, my identity project and whatever, I'm happy to take accountability for who I am now. So when I watch that ADHD video like a year later, I can say, well, by the way, that was me. And by the way, it gives me such a clearer vision to where I want to be. Because there were some things I said in that interview that I've never told anyone. So for me to even think about posting this is absolutely bonkers. However, I feel that if those things never happened or I never thought that way, I wouldn't be where I am just now. And I think that's my bigger reason why I'm doing this, you know? I think that's a bigger reason why I do want to help change people, because it's like, not change people, just make people a better version of themselves, because I think I've constantly tried to do that throughout my whole life, is try and pursue a better version of yourselves to inspire other people. And I think that's the only way I can really put that. My mind works like reassurance, but that's your identity. Maybe, Carol, maybe that's right, actually. Maybe it's reassurance that I'm getting a feeling from that person that's actually talking about this. So do they mean what they say, or are they just saying it for views or likes? Or maybe that, I don't know, maybe. Bill, reflection on action is a practice of reviewing a situation after it's happened. It involves stepping back from the situation. Yeah, Bill, agree with you, pal. Caffey Noble, Mr. McDougall, Frank, my dad. Your son has made a huge impact on mine and others, and I feel like Frankie brings so much joy, happiness, and commits 100% to everything. People can take from it and learn what you have been through. Yeah, and by the way, that was the whole point of me getting ADHD Scotland to sponsor assembly rooms and vice versa, because I want to represent them. Because I speak about this stuff anyway. And I wanted to speak about it with authority. I didn't want any fluff. I didn't want any, you know, and I'm never going to be like a coach or I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to be a, you know, somebody that says, you need to do this, you need to do this. I just want to give people information. Like, I'm never going to, and even if I was some sort of a coach, I wouldn't call it that. I would think of a different name, because I hate the word coach. I hate the word coach. Mentor. That's a better word. Who said that? Definitely, Cafe. There's no better ways to inspire people through your own personal experience. And Karen, the people who I can help more, or the people who I can actually truly help, is a version of me 5 years ago, or a version of me 10 years ago, or a version of me 1 year ago. Those are the people I can help. You can't help everyone. If you try and help everyone, you cannot help anyone. Let that sink in. If you try and help everyone, or you try and create a product to sell for everyone, you're not going to sell to anyone. You need a specific audience that you're speaking to that's like, right. Because then what happens is that builds a community, you know, and people resonate with each other. And it's like the Mack pack, like creating a thing like that where you feel part of something is more important than probably half the information that's out there. You know, having like-minded people who have went through like-minded stuff at the like-minded time makes you feel included, you know? And I think that's one of the gifts. In fact, I'll talk about this in my ADHD meeting, so I won't get too deep into it just now. However, I want to give that feeling of making people feel included, because that's a feeling I never had, say, at school or whatever, you know? And I think that's where I get my entertainment from, the showman, and is to make people feel included. Because by the end of the show, everybody knows everybody. The show actually isn't about me. If you've ever watched me perform, I don't really make it about me. Like, for instance, at Assembly Rooms, Alfie, you know, I wanted to make a memory for Alfie. You know, I want to make memories for people at a show. It's not really about watching me sing, although that's part of it. That's not why I do what I do. And I think for those who come to see my shows a lot, like, will agree with that, I think. Frankie, you also see the better version in everyone else, and everyone has the ability to make an impact. By the way, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's got a past. Nobody's perfect. I don't care who you are. Nobody's perfect, and everyone's done stuff that they regret. Everyone's hurt people. Everyone's done it. However, how do we move on? How do we move forward? And I'm never going to judge anyone. You know, I've done stuff in my life that I'm not proud of, you know. But if that never happened, then I couldn't really help others, because, you know, if your life was perfect, you wouldn't want to help anyone. You only feel that pain and you only feel that little void inside when it's like, well, I've done that. And if you see somebody else in that kind of line, you're like, well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go down that route. You know? Last couple of comments before we sign off. Have you thought about a subscription for the Facebook page? Caroline, yes, because you said that the other day, right? And there's a kind of a balance by doing that. So for me, I just wanted to do a 21-day challenge, and that was it. However, after the first 3 days, I knew this wasn't just going to be 21 days. So I want to create something that's like a community. I want to do that. I also want to keep doing these videos. However, doing 21-day challenges is going to be impossible for my schedule, right? It's just impossible to do this every month on repeat. However, what I did think, and again, it needs to be the right people who are committed, because I don't want, you know, people on board that are just kind of half bothered by it. Like, I genuinely want to make a difference. But when you said about the subscription thing, Caroline, one, you're only going to get people that are committed. People are not going to pay money and not turn up. However, it's got to mean it has got to mean something. So I'm trying to work something out where I can do it, because I think this is a part of me as well. Because I already speak about this stuff at my shows anyway, so I may as well do it on a level that's not Frankie Mack. I may as well do it on a level that's just Frank. That makes sense. Told you once before, when you sing, you take yourself to the audience. Yeah. So the next maybe week or so, I'm going to think of a structure that would benefit me. And that, because I had an idea, I was like, well, what about if we had, like, for instance, I want something for everybody. So I want something for free, because not everybody can. There's not going to be an excuse. However, everybody can afford, if they really want to change, they can afford whatever they want. But however, I want a free thing. So say, for instance, I dropped one video a week. I went live one time a week or whatever. Like, that's free. So anybody can follow that, right? But then what if we had like a step up, where we had a private group, right? Imagine this. So I had this idea. You had a private group with the WhatsApp group, right? So you've got a private group that, say, I'll post maybe three, 4 times a week, genuine stuff for, like, motivational stuff and videos that I see, like, elsewhere that isn't me speaking, but other videos that I know is going to benefit you, like that Steve Harvey video or the Jim Carrey video, or little golden nuggets that I could just post maybe 2 or 3 times a week, right? Also in that group, what you're going to get is like-minded people, which people are not going to pay for something that's that they're not interested in, right? So everyone's on the same mindset. The accountability is there, right? The community is there, and then the knowing why is going to be there. So you've got the second tier, right? But then on the tier above, yes, we can do that. However, if I was to then say to somebody, like, I'm just going to take 5 people or 10 people or 15 people or whatever, and say it was like a New Year's resolution, but it's like, from January, we're going to do, like, set yourself one habit to change, like, this year. So January to January, right? However, we do like one Zoom call a week, or, you know, I don't really know yet. I don't really know, but there's definitely something that I'd want to do, because this is already, by the way, like 10 times better than what I ever thought was going to happen, because it's not even just the comments, it's the private messages that I'm like, wow, like, maybe I am making an impact. However, you've got to understand this is my time as well. So I can't just go half in with this. I'm either all in or I'm not doing it. Does that make sense? So there's got to be a way. If I'm all in, it's got to benefit everyone. Frankie, I appreciate you're busy. Being private will be more committed. No, Caroline, I do get that. Being entirely honest with yourself is a good exercise. Brian, totally agree. Totally agree. Like, post it once a week, but the committee people can share it private with everyone. By the way, Carol, that's not a bad shout. I think we are onto something here. So let me have a wee think. Don't spread yourself too thin. Do you know what? I just text my mate that. Don't spread yourself too thin. You're right. And I totally agree with that. So I don't want to start something that I can't commit to. But there's got to be, by the way, there's got to be a reason for me to commit to it as well. Yes, I'm helping people understand that. Yes, it's a community, but also, you're right, I do need to think of myself as well. I know. You should consider breaking sessions down to a subject, goals that member have shared with you. But what if it was a specific habit for each person? Because the framework's the same. And it would make it more personal. Like, for instance, if somebody wanted to lose weight, or somebody wanted to start driving lessons, or somebody wanted to, it's all the same structure. So I feel like what I would be speaking about would apply to anything that you want to change. You can't obviously paint a brush over everything, but, I don't know. We'll think of something. You will post back and forward, but everyone can still communicate how we feel, tips and hints. By the way, aye. Do get content. There has to be a structure. Yes, exactly, Bill. That's what I'm getting at. There has to be a structure. So there's going to be a lot of time and effort that I'm going to have to put into this. And it's like, and it's that whole spreading yourself too thin. I don't want to spread myself too thin, because at the end of the day, like, the first and foremost thing that I am is a singer, as a showman, as an entertainer. That's always going to be the case. However, if there's a way that we could do this that can become a regular thing, I would 100% be up for it. But also, I would want to make it valuable. There has to be a reason for people to say, join a monthly subscription, or join a, does that make sense? You need a PA. Yes, Caroline, I do. Right, guys, we're going to tune off because it has now been 62 minutes. I'm headed to the gym now. I'm feeling pumped. I'm feeling good. And Heidi, I appreciate that. Definitely be committed to this. Love it. But also what I learned from Myron as well. I learned this last week. This Myron Golden guy. And it's like, say for instance, you want to help people. And this was something that I actually typed in the chat. I didn't get to ask him a question, but he reads the chat and he actually highlighted this. And I said, well, I'm thinking about starting, something for people, and, to make it like worthwhile for them, and, try and help people change their habits and identity and stuff, and blah, 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 whatever. And he was like, well, and there was somebody else that that was doing a similar thing, but to do with, what was it? I can't really remember. It was to do with something like, it was to do with roofing, right? And he was trying to teach people how to roof and whatever, and create a course and stuff like that. And he says, he created this course where he done like 3 lectures a week, like on Zoom, on how to do this, how to roof, blah, 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 blah. And they were like 6-week courses. But he would charge, like, say, I don't know, say £500 or whatever for 6 weeks, whatever. But the people he was attracting, they weren't committed, because £500 wasn't enough for them to stay committed. They would do the first week, the second week, the third week, but they weren't really interested in actually bettering themselves to do the roofing. And the guy asked Myron, he was like, well, should I be charging less? And Myron's like, you should. He says, that's the wrong concept. He says, you need to be charging more. And he says, why on earth would I charge more if I'm not getting the right clients now? He says, because if you charge more, you're only going to attract the people that are going to benefit from it. Because the people aren't So this is what I learned as well. When it comes to money, right? The people aren't investing in whoever's doing, say, this, or a personal trainer. That's not what they're paying for. The money they're paying is for themselves. They know they're worth that money. Does that make sense? So you're only going to attract the right people if you set a price where people are valuing themselves. And that kind of puts you in a hard place, because it's like, well, you want to help people, but also you want people to value themselves. So it's, again, that was another thing that I couldn't really wrap my head around. So it's definitely going to take a lot of thinking. If they're fully committed, they'll pay for advice. And I think that's what Myron was saying. That basically, that is what Myron was saying, is you only get the serious people if yeah, you have that commitment. And what that does is then spreads to other people, because you've only got little people that are serious. And that's not in a bad way, is what I'm saying. No, Caroline, I get you. I do understand what you're saying. I just, you know, I always get the guilty feeling, because it's like, well, I want to help people. But Myron was kind of saying, like, well, you're only going to help people if they actually want help. You can't help somebody that doesn't want help, or help people that wants to better themselves. It's impossible. If they don't want to change, they're not going to change. And I was like, wow, I never thought about it in that way before. So we'll see. Ray Duffy, hi from Leaving, and Kingdom Frankie. Cammy Burns of Nashville today. Ray Duffy, good Shan. But they have to act on that advice. No point listening to you if they don't act. And Bill, that was another point that he made. Because the people that pay are the people that act. Because they've already paid. They've already made some sort of commitment. And I was like, wow. This whole thing last week's changed my mindset. It's changed my mindset. This whole thing, this Myron Golden thing last week, because he taught me a lot of value. And he was like, the first and foremost thing, if you're good, he says, have a platform where you give it for free, right? But also have a platform for the more serious people. He says, have both. Because he says, then you can't feel guilty. He says, you're still giving out the same information. Don't hold anything back. Always give the information out. However, if somebody really wants to change, then let them. Let them commit. As long as you can deliver on that promise, what you give to that person, then there's no qualms. Again, never thought about it like that. So instead of having 50 people in one group, you've got 10. Okay, you're charging more, but you've got 10. But those 10 people are going to see the results. Whereas if you have 50 people on a Zoom call, you're not going to help the 50 people in an hour. That's impossible. Again, it was just, it was quite mind-blown. Mind-blown. You've hit the nail on the head there, Frankie, I know. Right, guys, we're going to shoot off, because it's been a bit of a long one today. Hope you're well. I'm going to, the next couple of days, really, really think about how I can benefit people. And do you know what? The feedback would be great. As in, if you had a say in what this becomes, what would it be? That I can sustain it over a long period of time. Because I can write a list of loads of things, but if there's things on there that aren't really benefiting you, but it still takes my time up, then it's pointless. So I would rather say, right, we'll have this. That's going to happen every week, or every second week, or every, you know, that would benefit. So have a little think. That's your homework tonight. Have a little think. We're going to come back on tomorrow, and we're going to make a plan. We're going to make a plan, because I'm feeling it, because I've put far too much into this to not do anything for it, because I'm absolutely loving it, and it's helping me as well. I can see it having an effect on people, and it's fantastic. So use the kiss. Use the kiss. Keep it simple, keep it sweet. Keep it simple, keep it sweet. Bill, I love that, mate. I love that. Simple and sweet. Right, okay. The most simplest thing we can set up, and we'll start from there. Let's have a little look at it. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. There's still 22 people on this at the end, which is absolutely mental on a Monday. So listen, thank you so much. Heading to the gym now, going to get my steps in, and I hope, in fact, if there's anybody that's got any goals or whatever, send them to me, just for that little bit of accountability. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you tomorrow.